Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tom Murphy. I'll be your presenter this afternoon. I'm a local authorized representative for Constant Contact and located just north of Atlanta. And we'll be getting started here on our presentation right after the beginning here. Let me see if I can get you to the next slide. And I'm going to just kind of take a look and see what you're seeing, which looks like we're on the appropriate slide, so that's really good. One thing I'd like to do before we even get started here, in the console to your right, there is on the right side of your screen, there's a hand tool. If you would click on that, if you can hear me okay, I would appreciate it just to make sure that you can hear me at this time. All right, I see 2 or 3 people with their hands up. 4 or 5, great. Thank you very much. That's what I needed. So we're going to get started here. Again, my name is Tom Murphy. I'm with Murphy Consulting Incorporated. Short name for our company is Mercon. We're in the business of helping businesses like yours and mine leverage the power of the internet to grow your business. We do that through internet marketing and Microsoft Access database development. We also design and develop websites. If we can help you with any of those kinds of things, be happy to do that. And although I have my own company, and by the way, we've been in business over 20 years, again, located just northeast of Atlanta, about halfway between Atlanta and South Carolina. I'm here today as a Constant Contact certified authorized local representative or local expert. And basically what that says is I've been trained to present the material that you will see today and authorized to do so by Constant Contact. My contact information is shown down there at the end, and I'll show this again at the end of the presentation in case you'd like to look at it. I'll also send you today an email, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, depends on how many folks we have here today, but an email containing a link to a survey. The last page of that survey will have a link to the recording of today's webinar, as well as a set of the slides that we'll be using today. The slide deck won't contain everything that you're going to see because it's a live demo, not a canned demo that you'll see today. But you will get a copy of the recording to go back and look at if you would like to. So with that having been said, let me see if there's anything else that I need to mention to you before we continue on. I believe that's about it. So let's dive in here. And I'm fairly certain that there are some folks on the call today who are not Constant Contact customers. Very briefly, Constant Contact is a set of integrated products, an integrated product experience, 4 different kinds of campaigns basically that you can do with Constant Contact. One is newsletters and announcements, basically email marketing. If you are an email only customer of Constant Contact, then that's what you get, newsletters and announcements. If you are an email plus customer, the next package contains not only that, but offers and promotions, a way to do offers and promotions, way to do online surveys, feedbacks, and even polls in your email, and also a campaign for events and registrations that allow you to do online registrations, set up landing pages for your events. Most of our live in-person seminars that I do use this product, so I use it all the time. Great product for doing events and registrations, collecting money for or fees for different things as well. So those are the 4 components of the integrated product experience. Again, the email level includes newsletters and announcements, email plus, everything else. Everything, no matter what level, including if you have a demonstration trial package, you get 24/7 toll-free American-speaking coaching support. Now, Constant Contact is kind of in the throes of changing to a new version of Constant Contact. If you were a customer prior to April of last year and started then, you probably see this as your dashboard when you log in. If you became a customer after that, you probably see something that looks similar to this, although it's changed, and you'll see that today as well. This as your dashboard. Whichever one that you're using, the editor that you're using right now looks something like this. Again, if you're a post-April of last year, you'll see a different kind of a color scheme, but the editor is what we call our second generation editor. I'll be using the third generation editor today, which will be released next month, and Constant Contact is converting all clients, no matter what version you are, to the integrated experience, and you'll have access to the third generation editor or the second generation editor, whichever you would like to use, and we'll kind of take a look at that today. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We looked at the dashboard. We're going to look at that as well in the current version of Constant Contact. Look at contacts. We're going to look at library, that is media. We're going to look at different kinds of campaigns and go into detail in using the new third generation editor, drag and drop editor, to create and send an email. We'll look at reports very briefly, and then at the end have a Q&A session. So let's get started, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hopefully tab out to Constant Contact. So it's constantcontact.com. You'll get a login page similar to this, and I'm going to log into Constant Contact. One thing I'm going to do while I'm here, while that's coming up, is open the question pane. So if you have any questions as we go along, go ahead and ask them. Type them in the question pane, and I'll try to answer them as we go along. May have to wait for some of them until we get to the end, but feel free to ask questions as we go along. We are out in the boonies of Georgia, if you will, so internet is a little slower than you might be used to in the city, but that kind of underscores the fact that, like you, I'm a small business. These are the tools and these are the techniques that I use to grow my business, and that's why I'm here today, is to help you grow yours. So in the current integrated experience, you usually get to this desktop or dashboard, if you will. What you will see here is similar to this. Any of your campaigns that you've run, you'll see a list down the left-hand side. Up at the top, some of you may have been used to seeing these items down the left side. They're now across the top. Campaigns, contacts, reporting, and library. We'll come back to those. A new item here, which is an alert. If the button on the bell is that color, the gold color, then that means there's some new enhancement to Constant Contact that you probably want to take a look at, so you can click on that and look at it. The question mark is for assistance from support. Don't forget, it's 24/7 toll-free number, American speaking support. If you click that, not only will you get the help number, customer support number, but access to a lot of other resources as well. And in the upper right-hand corner, of course, is your account owner information, information about your account, your settings, plans, pricing, and log out. I encourage you to go back and take a look at those if you haven't, and see what's in there, because those are some things that you'll want to set for your different campaigns. Down the right side of this page, you can click to create a campaign. It gives you a thumbnail of how many contacts you have. This is a demonstration account that I'm using today, although it looks exactly like the one I use day to day. 196 contacts. I can add contacts. I can use sign-up tools, which include widgets for your website and those type of things. And then down at the bottom, of course, is again a way to get to help. So basically what we're going to run through today, I'm going to go through contacts, I'm going to look at the library, I'm going to create a campaign, and then look at reporting that you get after the campaign as a part of this demonstration today. So we're going to start with contacts. Usually before I go and do a campaign, I'm going to upload my contacts or make sure all my contacts are here. I'm going to left click on contacts to get into the contacts section. And in this section, I will see all of the contacts that I have arranged in basically three different ways. Two different ways. I call it three different ways because there's three ways to categorize them. So down the left side, contacts, I have 196 contacts. 2 contacts that I had unsubscribed, so I see a notification of that. Down below that is all of the lists that I have, and below that are tags. And let me go back through this just briefly. There's a lot of ways to keep your contacts. You can have just a whole bunch of individual contacts and send to all of them all the time. Usually people don't do that. Usually they segregate them in at least different lists. So each of these lists contains a series of contacts. For example, I'm going to left click on CEOs. Just has 3 people in it, first name, last name, and email address. So that's my CEO list. I have a lot of other lists. There may be each of the people on these lists may be in multiple lists. The neat thing is when you send out an email to multiple lists, each person only gets 1 copy of the email, no matter how many lists they may be on. So this is a way to segment your contacts, is to put them in different lists. Another way to do that is to think about categorizing contacts. I have a list that's called CEOs, so each one of those people is a CEO. They may be on a different list, but when I send out an email, I may want to only send it to a certain category of contact. And the way that I categorize contacts is by adding a tag to their contact record. In the case here that I have 5 different tags. One, for instance, those folks that I know are in Georgia, I have tagged as GA. For each record you can have multiple tags, whatever you want to call the tag. So each contact can have multiple tags, and you can sort or filter those that you are sending to on any given campaign by the tags. This is a very powerful way to segment your list. As you know, in marketing, we're always talking about sending the right information to the right people at the right time. That's called list segmentation, or targeting a message to a particular group. Tags are a great way to do that, and I'll show you an example in just a minute. So you can go into each one of the contacts if you'd like and take a look at them and put whatever information that you would like. Not only name, first name, last name, email, company, city, state, but there are many other fields that you can use, including birthday and anniversary. Very powerful thing that Constant Contact allows you to do if you're using Email Plus is use email automation to send things out to folks based on a particular date. Birthday is one, anniversary is another. Very powerful concept. If you're not using it, I would suggest you take a look at it. Lots of ways to add contacts, and before I get into this, let me just address this. So this is a submenu under contacts. You can see reports relative to contacts. You can see activity relative to contacts, like if you're uploading a list. And there are also sign-up tools, a variety of sign-up tools that you have access to again, put on Facebook, to put in your website, to put on your email footers, to allow people to sign up on different lists. So if you haven't looked at that, look at it closely. It's a very handy set of tools. So to add contacts, a lot of different ways to do that. You can type them in one at a time. You can type in or paste a series of contacts, and it usually lists a place for about 10. Of course, you can go more than that. And if you have a list somewhere else, like in Word, for example, you can copy and paste first name, last name, email address in easily that way. You can upload from a file, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second, because that's probably 75% of the time that's the way people get contacts into their lists. And you can also add them from other applications like Gmail, Outlook, Salesforce, and many others. The very last one, Search Marketplace, allows you to look for other third-party tools that interface different kinds of database products into Constant Contact. So many different ways to get your contacts into Constant Contact. One way is upload a file. We're just going to take a look at that very briefly. So I have a file that's out on my desktop that I'd like to bring in. It's an Excel file, so I get to choose my file. And I'm going to go out to the desktop. I'm going to select this file, and I double-clicked on it, and it says, here's the name of the file. That's the correct file. This is a list of previous people who attended a webinar. So I'm going to choose that file. And down below it gives me a thumbnail of those, not all of them, just to make sure that that's what you want. On the left-hand side over here, there's a column called Tag, or Tags, and that's what I had in my Excel file. And that tag just said that these folks either attended or registered. That is, they registered but did not attend. So that gives me an easy way to segregate or segment those into those two different categories. So for contacts shown, I'm going to upload them. It's going to ask me which list, current list it is I want to put it in. I don't want to put them in a current list. I'm going to create a new list, and I'm just left clicking on these links. Demo list for 160622. So it will create the list, and I can upload, again, left clicking on the upload button, and upload the list. What it's going to do now is go through and make sure that all of those are in a correct form. Import complete, 4 contacts added, and I now have that list in my contacts to use. Fairly straightforward. It's a contact management capability. So a lot of other things you can do with it that I'm not going to today, just to give you a thumbnail sketch of how you get your contacts into Constant Contact. I'm going to take a look at library. Again, libraries is your graphics and documents. A lot of times if I'm going to have different graphics that I don't have on my computer right now in the email or campaign that I'm creating, then I'm going to upload them prior to creating the campaign. You can do that while you're doing the campaign, but to me it's easier to do that beforehand. I'm glad the pop-up came up just to emphasize the fact that you also have instant access to, as it said, millions of professional images provided for you. Some of them are fee-based, that is, you pay for them. Some of them are not. I'm going to go into these just very briefly to look at image gallery. and again, this is included in email and email plus. Since Father's Day was just recently, let's see what has in Father's Day. Again, these are all very high quality, high density kinds of graphics for you. Right now, it pre-selects Pro images. These are the ones that are charged for, and they're normally $8 a piece. If you want to see what's for free, then you can look for free images. Again, left clicking on free images. As you can see, there are lots of free images, banners, one thing and another. To tell you the truth, I haven't used any of the paid images yet. I've always been able to find something to use if I'm looking for an image in the free images. So don't forget that as a tool to use or a source for images. You'll note up here that there are different places to get images that you can upload from your computer, from social networks, from stock images, which is what we're looking at here, and recently available a new tool called Artwork Tool, free to use, that allows you to not only modify images but also to create your own graphics. I'm not going to go through that today. Again, a new tool that's available to you. It's a great tool if you want to do some creative kind of work on photos or other graphics. So I'm going to close this particular screen, come back to Library. Library again has all of your graphics, and it also can contain your documents as well. As you can see, I have 21 items in my library, 20 images, 1 document. I left click on the document. You can see it's a PDF that I uploaded. So PDFs or other kinds of documents you can upload and use in your emails. Again, I usually do the uploading of images prior to doing a campaign just so that I can select them as I go along, but you can do that while you're creating your campaign as well, whichever is more convenient or a better way, whatever flow that you like. As you can see over on the right hand side of each one of these, and by the way, you can do a kind of a gallery look or list look, whichever is better for you. This gives you some more information about each, and you can either edit it, add it to a different folder, or trash it in this particular view. So pretty flexible library tool for your images and for your documents. Pretty simple. We'll come back to reporting after we create a campaign. So I'm going to go to campaigns now. Any questions so far? All you have to do is type them in the questions area, and like I said, I'll try to get to them as we go along. If not, I'll address them at the end of the presentation. So, campaigns. If you go to the campaign button as opposed to the desktop, you will see, or the dashboard, you'll see a series of all of the campaigns that you have run in the past. Very straightforward kind of a listing, if you will, in date order. Over on the left-hand side, you can see all the campaigns, the different folders that you might have. I'm just left-clicking on the arrow. I don't have mine in any particular folder. They're just in a general folder. You can see the status of those emails. I have 2 that are in draft, 1 that's inactive, and 3 that have been sent. And looking at activity type, that's the different kinds of campaigns. I have 5 that are newsletters and announcements, and 1 that's an automation list or an automated campaign that I've created, and deleted 30. So again, it gives you a list of all your campaigns where you can manage those campaigns. One thing I'd like to point out is at the top, and this is a recent addition to this particular version as well, you get a feel for how many people are opening your emails on the desktop and how many are opening them up on mobile. I emphasize mobile because typically it's about nationally 51% of emails are opened on smartphones and other mobile devices. So, and I'll talk some more about mobile in just a minute. Very important aspect of your planning. So again, a list of all of your campaigns. Over here on the right hand side is an action drop down for each of the campaigns that you've already created that allows you to copy, delete, edit, preview, or reschedule any of those campaigns. Typically, what I do is create a campaign. I like the look of it, then I just copy it over and over again and change the content. So that is a methodology that you might use as well. So you see all of these in that order. You also can change the sort order over here. To create a campaign is very simple. I'm going to left click on create. If you have the email package, this is the only campaign that you can use all of the time. You can, for all of the other campaigns, purchase those on a one-time or time-by-time a la carte, if you will. Usage is $50 a use, or of course you can upgrade to Email Plus and you get access to all the different campaigns. Again, automating your emails is well worth the upgrade if you use it the way that I would recommend that you do that. And if you have any questions about that, call me. Be happy to go over marketing strategies for using automated emails. And again, you can create surveys, do campaigns for growing Facebook fans, collect donations for those of you on the call who are nonprofits on purpose, or create polls as well as surveys. I do have a question. Robert asked, I've noticed that some newsletters I've created look different in the specific spacing within the newsletter when viewing on my smartphone. Is there a way to make sure they transfer correctly to smartphones? Actually, there is a way to preview the email to see what it would look like in a smartphone before you send it out. Sometimes you can adjust spacing yourself to make sure that it looks like it's supposed to or that you want it to on a smartphone. And we'll take a look at that here in a couple minutes. Good question. Thank you. So what we're going to do is send an email. Again, if you have the email package only, then you get to send email. If you have Email Plus, you get everything, but we're going to send an email. Depending on what version you're using right now, if it's a pre-April of last year or the current, you may see something a little bit different in the starting a campaign, because usually the first thing that you do is pick a template upon which to base your campaign. And what you see here are the templates that you have to choose from. There are over 400 of them. Just different styles, and basically what you're looking at when you're looking for a template is a layout, not particularly the content, but the layout. For example, this one has a header graphic, some text, a couple of nice separators or dividers, a coupon, and then a place for a graphic at the bottom. If that's the kind of layout you're looking for, great. Or you can start from scratch, basically. Here's just a basic letter. Place for an image at the top, some text, company information down here. Just a basic letter. And sometimes those are better than ones that have a lot of graphics. But whichever way that you would like to go, then you have the ability to do that. I will point out, if you'll notice on this template here, there is an icon that says that this is a mobile responsive template. This template, Professional One Column, is not mobile responsive. My counsel to you is use mobile responsive templates. Find some layout or start from scratch, if you will, and use a mobile responsive template because of the emphasis on mobile. So you can choose whichever one that you would like to use. The new part of this template picker occurs over here to the right. And by the way, you can do your own custom code if you like in HTML. I've done this several times for customers who say, I don't like any of the templates, build me something from scratch and make it look like this. So you can do that, and I have the capability to do that custom coding if you need that done. To the right, you have a link for View New Templates. This gets you into the third generation editor and the templates for that editor. One caution: if you have something that you've done in the current editor, you cannot just open that in the third generation editor. It won't let you do that, and you can't use the third generation editor on it. You'll have to recreate it. If you create something in the new editor and want to use the same thing in the old editor for some reason, you can't do that. Whichever editor you created it in, that's the editor that you have to use to edit it and send it out. The sending out, and that is all the same, it just depends on which editor that you used. Again, my counsel is to start using the new templates, because all of the development coming in the future and enhancements will be new editor oriented. I'll just give that as a word to the wise. So we're going to look at the new templates and select one of those to edit. Again, there are lots of templates to choose from, and I'm going to scroll down. They go on forever and ever. We're about halfway through them all. If you like the colors, if you like the layout, that's choose that one. You can always select or preview one to look at, and then not select it. And again, there are ones that you can kind of start from scratch to use, sort of blank, and basic letters and basic cards and flyers and those kinds of things. You won't see any mobile responsive icons on these because they are all mobile responsive. All of the new templates in the new editor are mobile responsive. I will point out up here at the top, again, we're in the third generation editor. You can still do custom code. Interestingly enough, you can import a PDF, make that the content for your email if you would like. It turns it into an image. And then there's a toggle to go back to legacy templates. So you can go back and forth between the current templates and the second generation templates and the third generation templates, whichever one better meets your particular needs. Carol had a question: so the editors will still be available second and third after next month, or do I have to recreate everything from my previous editor? Very good question. Like I said, everyone is going to be migrated into the new product. Whatever that you have now been created in the second generation editor will still be available, and you can edit those in the second generation editor. If you want to create a new email, you can either use the second generation or the new third generation drag and drop editor that you would like. Again, if you want to move one, you want the one that you've already created in the second generation, and you like that and you want to use it in the third generation, you're going to have to recreate it. You're just going to have to recreate it. And I offer a service to do that, recreating, if you will. So if you need some help changing some of your second generation to third generation, I'd be happy to help you with that. So again, these are third generation templates. We're going to use, let me see if I can find one down here that I like. Sorry. Yes. I'm going to take a look at this one. I'm going to preview it. It's a menu update. It just has some really nice colors. And I'm going to modify it to meet my particular needs. So that looks like what I want to do. So I can select the template. Again, up in the upper right hand corner, left click to select template. And it will load up the template. This will be new to most everybody, unless you've seen the third generation editor. The screen elements are a little different. We'll go through those and show you how to use them. Again, the third generation editor is a drag and drop editor. So you select something that you want to use and you left click and drag and drop it into the template wherever it is that you want to use it. And again, I apologize for the little bit slowness of the screen, but it'll catch up with us shortly. So we're going to load up the graphics, and again, the third generation editor isn't slow, it's just our particular internet where we are is a little slower than most of you are accustomed to. So I'll point out a couple of things that as it completes loading. Up at the top, you have a place to put in your campaign name. This is not seen by the those that you send it to. This is for you to keep track of what it is. You can save, although it kind of automatically saves, as you will see as we go along. Undo, redo, preview allows you to see what it would look like as a recipient would see it, and we'll look at that in a minute, and then continue on. And when you continue, it goes to schedule so that you can designate when your email will go out and who it will go out to. So I'm going to describe what you're seeing on the screen, left side and the middle. There are 3 tabs up here. Build, when you're building your email. Images gets you access to your library, and then the ability to change colors. In the build section, and as before, all of our emails are in blocks, and I'm going to go over here to the right. If I put my cursor on this part of the screen, the block lights up. The next block is down here, but right now, if you put your cursor in the second generation editor, it tells you what kind of block that is. We've kind of simplified that. There's fewer blocks, but they're the ones that we all normally use. So different blocks down the page. All of those came from over here on the left-hand side. These block elements allow us to insert into the email that we're building. I'm going to kind of just scroll on down here to the bottom. Just take a look at this particular email. Pretty got a lot of visuals in it, which is good. And then all the way down to the footer. So many elements in here, and I'm going to take a look at a couple of them as we go along. Each block on the right hand side allows you to move it, and I'm going to show you that in just a second, to duplicate it or make a copy of that block, or to delete the block. This section up here is just text, obviously. If I wanted that somewhere else, I can left click on the move icon and move it somewhere else, similar to the current editor. This up here is called the pre-header text, by the way. It's what people on a smartphone see normally underneath the subject. Great thing to use as a teaser. Up here at the top, you still have your from name, reply, and subject. And I'm just going to go down through this email a block at a time and show you how these things work. Up at the top, just like you have now in the current editor, is your header information, from name. And here's a tip that you get in one of my other seminars. Always do more than just the name of your company or your own name. Put your name, your company. People know me, Tom Murphy, Mercon, Murphy Consulting, Inc. They ought to know me by one of those, and that's what I use as a from name. From email address, and you could have several different people that they could be sent from. You can use the same email address as the reply address, or select another one. And then here's the subject line. Here's a tip on subject lines. And again, you'll get this in some of the other seminars that we do. Be creative. Be creative. Get your taste buds ready for these dishes. Okay. November newsletter, it doesn't really do anything for me. So be creative, like hot sauces. See if I can spell that right. That's not right either. First thing I see is hot sauces. Well, that kind of gets my attention. So be creative on your subject lines. Get somebody, compel them to read the rest of the subject line and the rest of your email. So this particular template has a really cool background. And again, we have the different blocks. It also has outlining around the center content area, and we'll take a look at that. So this is a pre-header text block. The way that got in there is I'm going over here, I'm going to left click, and as you see, the text block kind of unhinges itself a little bit, and I can go over here and just stick it in wherever I might want to. And by the way, what you will see is a magenta line across the screen where this is going to end up being inserted. And again, this is a little slow, so I'm going to wait for it to catch up. I put it in where I didn't really want to put it. I'm going to try this again because I want to show you that what it just did there a little separately. The other thing that you can do with these is stack elements side by side, and in essence that's what I did with that block. I'm going to delete that block and put the text block back in underneath the picture just for purposes of illustration. And again, a little slow today. The one thing that you can do in this particular editor is stack blocks side by side. Now, I've got this, the magenta line is all the way across, so I have a text block that is inserted in here, if that's where I want it. Maybe I wanted to have that text block where I can type things in, and again, if I now left click in this text block, I can do the normal kind of editing that you do now on whichever editor that you're using. You don't save it actually, you just tell it that you're done and go on to the next item. If I wanted to, I could put that to the left or to the right of another block, and I'm just going to move this, and it's kind of like the one that we saw that I didn't intend to do earlier, but I'm going to take this block and I'm going to move it down here, and if it does what I would like it to do, again, internet a little slow today. I should see a magenta line down the left-hand side where I would drop this particular element. And I'll guarantee you it's not constant contact that's causing this these kind of problems today. It's internet. I'm going to try do it a different way, and just for purpose of illustration, again, try to drop an image into the left of this block. It's not going to cooperate with me, so I'll just drop this image in the block. There it is, so it's going to do that for me. So now I have an image in the block. If I want to edit the image and show that image, or insert an image in that block, I can click Insert Image. It will take me out to my library, and I can insert any of the images that I have in that block. I like Jack here. Is a pretty cool looking graphic, so I'm just going to stick that in there. Now, keep in mind that this image is in this block. It's not stacked to the left of it. If I go down a little bit, I can show you that this is a text block, this is an image block, and they are stacked next to each other. You can't do tables in responsive templates, but you can stack elements side by side, and you can resize them to whatever that you might want to give you more room or less room. Last webinar I was asked, so how many things can you stack side by side? Right now you can stack 2. And we say stack because when you see this on a smartphone, the left-hand element is stacked on top of the right-hand element. So they are stacked. They stack on top of each other, and I'll show you that in a second. So that's how you stack things together. This is also kind of a stacking, because we have an element and an element in there as well. This is a divider, which we have, and a spacer. So they're just different elements that you can use to put into your email. This Visit Us Today button, and I'm going to delete this button. And I'm going to add another button into here. And stack it to the right of what was there before. And when I click on it, then I can edit it whichever way that I would want to. And again, you can center it or whatever, make it bigger or smaller. The neat thing about these buttons, and it was kind of, you can do this in the current editor, but it wasn't as clear. Once you put in the URL for this particular button, and let's say it's workon.com, you can click the test button and it will test that, and it will open it in a new window. And of course, this is my website, and show you that that link actually worked. That's very helpful. So you can put buttons in just like I said, and and put them wherever that you would want to. One thing I would suggest on buttons, if you're going to do buttons, is also provide that link as a text link as well, just as a backup way to get to whatever it is that you're linking to. Dividers, I'm going to just drag this over as a divider. And you can also edit the divider, make it different colors, different sizes, whichever that you would like to do. I'm going to take that one out of there. You have the capability to put in social icons for whatever you might have, Facebook, Twitter. There's a whole series, and I'm just going to left click on that particular group. And it allows you to set up your social networks, whatever that you would like. There are other networks that you can set up as well, and more to come. And I'm going to just get rid of that one I just put in, overkill. Other text down here, some items that are linked, website and email, just like you can do in the current editor. Down here at the bottom is just more text. So again, and basically what I'm trying to point out is it's very simple to use, to add or take things out. You can drag and drop images. I'm going back to this side, images, drag and drop those into wherever that you would like to. I'm just going to drag it in here into this particular block, and these are stacked, by the way. And I can also modify colors. A lot of times colors are hard to work with because you have websites, you have other electronic locations that have specific colors. Your logo has a specific color. You want your emails to have that same color scheme. You can modify the color scheme of the template using outer background, inner background, buttons and dividers, headlines, those different kinds of sections using these particular selectors. So the outer background, right now it's black, or excuse me, it's red. Maybe I would like to make it black. Now you change that particular background. The inner background, that's this part in here, is white. Maybe we would like to make that a light blue. Easy to do. Buttons and dividers, same concept. Right now it's red. Maybe I'd like to make that black. But a lot of times our colors are not our primary colors, and we'd like to use a particular color to match it. I'm going to show you how to do that, not within Constant Contact, but using a color matching tool, and there's several out on the internet to use. I use one called Colorcop. It's free, which is always great because I'd like to do some text or a background perhaps that's the color of this pepper that's in here. Looks like a jalapeno pepper. That looks really good, doesn't it? So I'd like to match that over here and do the inner background that color. I'm going to bring up Colorcop. That's all it is, and what it allows you to do is to take this eyedropper left click and drag it to wherever you want it, and it will give you a hex code or the RBG code for that color. Okay, so what do I do with that? I go back to here. This is the inner background. Go to more colors. It also gives you a place to put in a hex code. I'm going to left click and select that code and copy it, and I can do that with Control C. You can also double click in here to select it as well. I'm going to go over to the where this hex code is here and double click. As you see, it selects everything to the right of the pound sign or number sign. I'm going to do a Control V, which allows me to paste that in there. Two keyboard shortcuts I use all the time: Control C for copy, Control V, that's Victor, Control V to paste. And then I can apply that, and that brings my color across. Very simple to do. The other tool that I'm just going to very briefly show you that is that I use all the time, because I like to go out and even on my own website use pieces of a graphic in my own emails. I'm going to go out to my current website. Maybe I'd like to cut a piece of one of these out to use as a graphic. You can do that with a tool that's provided in Windows called a Snipping Tool. The Snipping Tool, which you can find by searching for it in Windows, comes up and it allows me to pull a piece of that window, and I can paste it or save it to my desktop. I can copy it and then paste it. To use it, of course, here we need to save it and then upload it to use it in Constant Contact. But it's a really great tool, again, the Snipping Tool, to use to get other kinds of, or pieces of pictures, if you will, to use for your graphics. And I'm not going to save that. Then you can use that to save into your library and upload it into the library while you are still in the editor and use it in your email. So just wanted to show you those two tools: Colorcop to match colors, Snipping Tool to excerpt or extract different pieces out of other graphics that you might want to use. So I'm kind of through using Colorcop. Yeah, that is ugly. Not something that I would probably use, but it's a good way to look at the color matching tool. Kind of take it back to the way it was. So I might want to now look at, okay, I'm pretty much finished. I'd like to see a preview of what that looks like before I send it out to everybody. So I'm going to left click the preview button in the upper right hand corner, and what that's going to show me is what it's going to look like when somebody receives it on their desktop. Well, what if they're looking at it on mobile? In the new editor, I have the capability to look at it the way it would look on a mobile device. So I'm going to left click on mobile. Looks kind of like an iPhone or an Android device. This is what someone on that device would see. And I'm just scrolling down. If you'll notice, this is really 2 blocks that were on, or actually 3 that were on the desktop. And I'm going to go back to that just to take a look at that. So here we have Bob, text, button, mobile device, picture, text, picture, text, button. So they were stacked side by side. Now they are stacked vertically, automatically. Great way to do things for mobile. That does not mean that this is mobile friendly, by the way. There is another definition for that, but it is mobile responsive. Mobile friendly has to do with whether or not you can read it once it's re-rendered in this manner, so you can adjust your fonts and things to look at it that way as well. So all of these that were stacked are actually stacked left to right. Now they're top to bottom all the way down. That's not a bad layout, as a matter of fact. What you do notice also is all the extraneous color, all the bordering, all that fancy tablecloth background is gone in mobile. So you got to be cognizant of that. Look at it the way we look in mobile as well as desktop to make sure that that is the way that you want to look at it. Got a question. Somebody's asking, let me see, can you put text over a picture? And let me go back up and make sure I didn't miss something here. Can you put text over a picture? Not in the editor, no. The new tool that I showed you earlier that was available, Artwork, allows you to do that. I use a tool, again a free tool on the internet called PicMonkey, that allows you to do a lot of things like that with your graphics. Can't really put text over the graphic. You know, and let me look at something real quick. That's a very good question. And I may have just deleted my email, but that's okay. We'll go back to that as well. There are some editing tools available within Constant Contact, and either Image Editor or Artwork tool, either one. And I may have misspoken because I just really haven't done that before. So I'm going to click on text. So I'm wrong. Yes, I can put text in a picture. Better yet, and apply it and save it. So now that photo does have text over the picture. So hopefully that answers your question. Can we say something different than visit our website? I'm going to get out of this in just a second. Go back to campaigns. Did save a copy of my campaign I was working on, and because it's a third generation editor campaign, it will open that again. One thing I failed to emphasize to begin with, you always want to start at the very top on whatever you're editing, and this block up here to the upper left, which allows you to put a name on your the campaign that you're doing, you really need to do first so that you can keep track of it. Let's see if I can get it come back up here again. Internet a little slow today. I'm just going to put a name on it so I can get back to it in the future. But still waiting on the internet. Apologize for the delay. One of the other questions, what happens when someone clicks unsubscribe? Do we get an email informing us to remove them from our email list? Very good question, Carol. When somebody picks unsubscribe, the system automatically takes them out of your current lists and puts them into an unsubscribe list. You don't have to do anything. It'll do that automatically. You do get periodically a notice of activity on your lists, and you will get a list, unsubscribed list, that says who has unsubscribed from your list for your current campaign. Also should note that you cannot resubscribe these folks, nor can you send anything to them in Constant Contact. They have to resubscribe. You can't do it for them. So now I'm in the rename, and I'm just going to do 160622 demo email. This shows up when you look at your campaigns in the campaigns list so you can keep track of. So I've gone through, I've edited, I've previewed my email. Yep, that's what I want to send to. So I'm going to click on continue. Continue takes you to the step, the third step basically. First we selected a template, edited the template. Now we're going to go into the section where we select the email addresses or lists that we want to send to, and then send it, or you can save it as a draft, either one. So I get a list of all the email address lists that I have. I'm going to let's see, let's do this one. Those who we're going to send this out to. We can look again to make sure that's the subject that we want. From name, from address, reply, physical address that will appear, and so that's the one I'm going to send to. I can either send now or schedule for later. And if you schedule for later, then you get a drop down that allows you to pick the date and the time. I'm going to say 7 p.m. so I can go back and cancel the send. And you can elect to have a report sent to you directly to show you the early results from the send. And that's an early report, as in early reports from the email that you sent out, or the campaign that you sent out, and who to send that to. So at this time, the only thing that left to do would be to schedule. Since I've already said schedule for later, send now, is to click schedule. I will tell you that your email, even if you say send now, it doesn't go out immediately. It's delayed approximately 15 minutes, and then it will go out at that time. So since I scheduled it for a specific time, then it says it's going to go out at that particular time. The last thing I'm going to show you on this before we go to reporting is the interface to social share. One of the latest innovations in Constant Contact that you have seen is the ability to integrate your sending of your email message with your social media. Social share, once you've scheduled your email, You go down to the bottom, and this is true of other campaigns as well, and use social share to schedule posts on your social media. I'm going to left click on schedule posts. This allows you to set up a calendar of social media posts to support the email that you're sending out. What I do for the seminars and webinars that I have is I set up a series of posts to social media to support or prior to the date of that particular seminar or webinar. So it sets up a calendar for you and suggests some dates. You can click on the plus in the calendar and add more dates if you would like. Over on the left hand side, it gives you a banner that says what networks that you have set up, and if you don't have any set up, you can add more. Gives you some sample text to send as a post, and you can change that. This is a short code or short URL for your email, so you can use it other places as well if you'd like. And images, and you can, I'm left clicking on this arrow down here, and I can select whatever graphic that I would like to send out with this particular post. Now, keep in mind that you can only do 140 characters in Twitter, so you have to adjust what you're saying accordingly, but you can do whatever you want. So this one is going out at 7:05 p.m. Since the email goes out at 7 o'clock, it's going to send out the next one on Saturday, send out the one after that on Tuesday. I can remove that post so that I only have one today and one Tuesday. And I can add others in here as well. I can send 3 a day, 4 a day, 5 a day, whichever that you would like. Social share. Very powerful way to integrate social media into your constant contact email sending and schedule. So I hope you use that. I use it all the time. Works like a charm. I really am glad that we have that tool available. So then we can click those to schedule those particular posts, and we're pretty much through with that. Yeah, I did that on purpose. I didn't really want it to schedule. But question was earlier, it says, can we say something different than visit our website? All of the text that you see in the email templates, yes, you can change that. It is editable. So now it just gives you a scheduled screen, the name of the what you scheduled. You can copy it. You can download it as a PDF. I have some clients who create their email in constant contact, send it out that way. They also download it as a PDF and make print flyers and use it as a flyer to post or hand out in different places. Keeps you from having to do double duty on flyer making. And again, of course, I can unschedule, and I am going to unschedule this one because I really don't want to send it out. Social share down at the bottom of the screen again. So I'm just going to save it as a draft and not send it out. So I'm going to go just back to campaigns. Last but not least, reporting, and I'm going to hit this real quick, but if you're not looking at the results of the emails that you're sending out, it's a nice tool to have to send things out, but you don't know what's working or what's not working. The reporting tool is very good at telling you how many emails, campaigns you sent out, when you sent them out to, the total number that you have sent to, the open rate, the click-through rate, and click-through is clicking on a link that's in your email, bounces, and the number of people that unsubscribed. Each of these numbers is a hyperlink. You can click on a number in here. For example, if you want to see who clicked on a link, you can click on the number and get the contacts that clicked on that link. You can see who clicked on a particular link. And I'm going to do that just to show you what that shows you, because this is great marketing intelligence. Let's say you put information about 3 different things that you do in an email, and you put links so they can get more information. You get 4 clicks on that, and I only had 1 link that in this particular email, but it would show me the URLs or the links that people clicked on and how many, and then I can click on the number, and see who it was that actually clicked. Then I can do follow-ups to those folks, knowing that they clicked on or were interested in something. Again, the reporting, very simple. How many did you send? Who opened them? How many opened? Who unsubscribed? Who clicked on links? All the basic information that you need to know whether you're accomplishing your objectives or not, and some intelligence, if you will, on what you need to change. So that's Constant Contact email using the 3rd generation editor. Again, it's faster depending on what your email service is, and I, again, apologize for the slowness of the service today. Out here in the hinterlands of Georgia, some days it's a little slower than others. So it's really easy to get started. If you'd like to get started with Constant Contact, you can contact me today to get started with a paid email only account, $20 a month, up to 500 contacts. Email Plus, again, you get everything in the integrated experience, including the new editor, $45 a month, up to 500 contacts, and it goes up from there. And through the end of June, that's which is next week, if you subscribe, you can get 30% off your subscription for the first 3 months. So that's I think about $14 a month if for email only, and it is cancelable, easily cancelable on a month-to-month basis. You also will get a free custom mobile responsive template created for you that has the same colors and graphics as your website. Usually a $99 item, but you get that free if you sign up with me. And if you're a current customer and just using email, if you want to go to Email Plus and give that a try, and you can go back and forth from one to the other. If you become a Mercon VIP, and I'll tell you about that in just a second, and then upgrade to Email Plus, I'll give you a gift card valued at the difference between email and Email Plus for your first month. Get all packages, no contract, 100% money back guaranteed, toll-free, American-speaking, customer support included. If you have questions, be glad to answer them now, or you can give me a call. I'd be happy to do that as well. If you have any questions right now, if you just type them in, I'll be happy to answer them. And let me scroll down here. Where can we get backgrounds? The backgrounds, you have to choose whichever template has a particular background that you want to use. You can't, I believe that I read that we're working on the capability to use, let's say, a picture as a background. don't have that capability right now. Bounce. What is bounce in reports? That means that for some reason that email was not delivered to the person that you sent it to. It could bounce for many reasons. Either the ISP that it was being sent to by Constant Contact was unavailable at that time. The person you're sending it to has their email box is full, or several other reasons. When you click on those that bounce, it gives you a detailed description of why they didn't bounce or why they did bounce. It could be that the email address is incorrect. I've seen a lot of times where .com is spelled C-O-N instead of C-O-M in an email address, and obviously it won't go through. Any other questions? Please type them in at this time, and I'll hang around for a few minutes in case you have some other questions to answer as well. Otherwise, give me a call. If you'd like to start Constant Contact, give me a call. I'll be happy to work with you. I will send out a copy of this presentation recording. I'll send you out a copy of the slides that I used today so you have the details on the offers that are available today. And a survey. One of the questions in the survey says, do you want to, if you're already a customer, would you like to be part of Mercon's VIP Club? The VIP Club doesn't cost you anything. It simply associates your Constant Contact account with my partnership. It doesn't change any of your terms of agreement with Constant Contact, but it does give you the capability to call me when you want to talk about strategy as well as how to, and it gives you access to some other information which I make available to my clients only. So when you see that question in the survey, click yes, and I'll send you some other information on becoming part of the VIP Club. Again, that will come out to you today. I really appreciate you coming and being part of this. If I can be of help to you in any way, please let me know. Got a couple other questions as well that I'll address. If you don't have time to hang around, that's great. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you on the next call. So when you say a 500-person limit, does that mean that any email can go out, only go to that many people, or can you only have a total of that many contacts? There are different pricing levels. The $20 level for email gives you 0 to 500 contacts. Pricing is based on the number of contacts you have in your database. 501 to 2,500 is currently $35 a month. So that gives you an idea, and it goes up to ever how many you want. There are some clients we have that have, I'm told, hundreds of thousands of contacts. So, but the pricing is based on the number of contacts that you have in your database. Hope that answers your question, Stacy. Anyone else? Can I answer any questions? Like I said, I'll hang around here for a few minutes. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a great day.